Students, in the last period, we were studying about the covalent bonds and covalent molecule. For example, and hydrogen molecule, H single bond H, that is, it is formed by sharing of electron pair, or we have said that when the electron pair is commonly shared between two atoms, the bond form is called covalent bond, and the compounds are called covalent compounds. In methane molecule, we have seen that the carbon has 4 unpaired electron in its outermost shell in excited state, and it shares the unpaired electron with 4 hydrogen atom, that is 4 hydrogen atom, and form the CH4 molecule. Thus, in methane, there are 4 covalent bonds. And these molecule is called, or you can say these are called covalent compounds. Then about oxygen, regarding the oxygen, we have said that oxygen having 2 unpaired electrons in its outermost shell. There are total 8 electrons here. Oxygen atomic number 8, electronic configuration 2 6, 1s2, 2s2, 2px1, 2py1, and thus oxygen having 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py1, 2pz1. Oxygen having 2 unpaired electron, and oxygen shares 2 unpaired electron with the 2 unpaired electron of another oxygen atom, and thus form 2 covalent bonds. And in this way, oxygen molecule is formed. Now see about the ammonia molecule, NH3 molecule. Now in NH3 molecule, nitrogen atomic number 7, electronic configuration 2 5. This is K shell, L shell. Here 1s2, then here 2s2, then 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1. 1s2, 2s2, 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1. Clear? Now see, atomic number 7, 2 electron, 2 4, and thus nitrogen having 3 unpaired electron in its outermost shell, and this is accounted as a lone pair of electrons. And it is also called unshared pair of electrons, because this electron pair is not taking part in sharing. So see, nitrogen, so this is a 2s2 pair, this is 2px1, this is 2py1, this is 2pz1. Then regarding hydrogen, so 1 electron, and here 1 electron. So 3 unpaired electron of nitrogen atom undergo sharing with the 3 unpaired electron of 3 hydrogen atom, and thus you can say ammonia molecule is formed. So these are the covalent bonds. And this is accounted as a lone pair of electron. Why ammonia molecule is basic? The ammonia molecule is basic in nature because the nitrogen atom having an unshared pair of electron or lone pair of electron which can be easily available for protonation, because this lone pair can be donated to any electron deficient atom or ion and forms the you can say coordinate covalent bond and form the coordinate covalent bond. And in this way, ammonia molecule is formed. In ammonia molecule, there are 3 covalent bonds. And see, count the electron in the outermost shell of nitrogen. The octet for nitrogen is completed 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, 8 electron. And duplet for hydrogen is completed 2 plus 2 plus 2. Now sharing means that electron pair, the 2 atoms, they are sharing the electron pair. And in the formation of covalent bond, each atom contributes 1 electron. In the formation of covalent bond, each atom contributes 1 electron. Hydrogen contributes 1 electron, nitrogen contributes 1 electron. Hydrogen contributes 1 electron, nitrogen contributes 1 electron. So this is about the covalent bond. Another structure I explain. For example, CH3COOH, or we can write as CH3 single bond C double bond OOH. This is ethanoic acid or acetic acid. Now see about the bonding. Carbon, 4 unpaired electron. So carbon having 4 unpaired electron. Hydrogen 1 1. So see here. Then again there is a C. Here 2 unpaired electron. And here O 1 1. Oxygen having 2 lone pairs of electron, and H. So C. And here there is a O. CH3 single bond C double bond OOH, acetic acid. Now another important point that I have to tell you, that covalent compounds, all organic compounds are covalent compounds. All organic compounds are covalent compounds. And as all organic compounds are covalent compounds, you can say that these covalent compounds having low melting point and boiling point. These compounds having low melting points and boiling points. Why? Because the covalent bond is strong. These molecules having strong covalent bonding, but the intermolecular forces of attraction between the molecules are weak. Intermolecular forces of attraction are weak, and therefore you can say these compounds are having low melting point and boiling point. So I have told you that the covalent bonds are strong bonds, but intermolecular forces of attraction between the molecule are small. Intermolecular forces of attraction are small. Remember this point. This point is important. Why organic compounds, why covalent compounds having low melting point and boiling point? The covalent molecules have, you can say, strong covalent bond, but intermolecular forces of attraction are small, and therefore these molecules have, you can say, low melting point and boiling points. And since the electrons are shared between the atoms, no charged particles are formed. Since electrons are shared between 2 atoms, there is a no loss and gain of electron. No charged particles are formed. In electrovalent bonding, we have seen that there is a formation of charged particle, Na positive, Cl negative, because sodium loses electron and electron lost by sodium is accepted by chlorine, and therefore there is a formation of charged particle in electrovalent bonding. But here in case of covalent bonding, no charged particles are formed, and therefore you can say such covalent compounds are poor conductor of electricity. Such compounds are poor conductor of electricity because almost all organic compounds are poor conductor of electricity because there is no formation of charged particle. In case of NaCl, KCl, Na2SO4, CaO, there is a formation of, you can say, charged particle, and because of the formation of the charged particle, you can say electrovalent compound are good conductor of electricity in their molten state, but organic compound are poor conductor of electricity because no charged particles are formed between them. Clear? So this is the reason. Now then we will study about the allotropy. What is allotropy? When one and the same element exhibit or exist in different forms. For example, when one and the same element exist in different form, then it is said to be allotrope, or it is this property is called allotropy, and compounds, different compounds are called allotropes. Now for example, coal, charcoal, graphite, diamond, anthracite, bitumen, lignite, etc. All these are the different forms of the carbon. So coal, charcoal, then you can say, now what is the difference between coal and charcoal? The coal is mine. The coal which is obtained from mine is a coal, and the charcoal is obtained by the burning of the wood, and then coconut charcoal. So when the coconut is burned, the charcoal is obtained is called coconut charcoal. When the bones of the animals are burned, we get the charcoal, that is called animal charcoal. So in this way, coal, charcoal, graphite, diamond, bitumen, lignite, etc. these are the different forms of the carbon, and they are having different physical properties. They are having different physical properties, and their chemical properties are likely to be same, and therefore these are called allotropes. So they exhibit in different forms. One and the same element exhibit or shows or exist in different forms, and this property is called, you can say their physical properties are different, but chemical properties are likely to be same, are called, you can say, allotropes, and phenomenon is known as allotropy. Now for example, I have told you the example of carbon, then silicon. In the 4th group of the periodic table or in the 14th group of the periodic table, carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead. So carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead, they also exhibit allotropy. Now for example, silicon exists in the amorphous form and crystalline form. Amorphous form and crystalline form. Amorphous silicon having low density, crystalline silicon having greater density than the amorphous form, and pure silicon is a good conductor of, or you can say better conductor of, you can say heat and electricity, because silicon is used in the semiconductor. Have you studied the semiconductor? There are two types of semiconductor, N type of semiconductor and P type of semiconductor. How will you define the semiconductor? The substances which acts as an insulator at absolute zero temperature, which acts as insulator at absolute zero temperature means minus 273 degrees Celsius, and become conductor at normal temperature, that is at room temperature. So such substances are called semiconductor, and silicon, germanium, these are the examples of best semiconductor. and these semiconductors are used in the various electronic devices. Now about the silicon, then tin exists as a white tin and grey tin. Lead also exists in different forms, but the most common example of the allotropes is the carbon, and then silicon, white tin, grey tin, etc. So these are this is all about the allotropy. Now what is the difference between graphite and diamond? Both are the forms of the carbon, different forms of the carbon. Now in case of graphite and about diamond, you know diamond is a poor conductor of electricity. And diamond is very hardest substance which is to be present on the earth. So hardest substance, and diamond having very high melting point and boiling point. For example, the melting point of the diamond is near about 3600 degrees Celsius, or it is 3873 absolute. And as compared to diamond, graphite having very low melting point. Now the graphite is a good conductor of electricity, while diamond is a bad conductor, poor conductor of electricity. Now the reason is that, now see, in case of diamond, the carbon atom is in sp3 hybridization state. Where bond angle is 109 degree 28 minute. So carbon is in sp3 hybridization state. In graphite, carbon atom is in sp2 hybridization state. Now what is hybridization? That you will learn in the 11. Now for example, you know, carbon in excited state of the carbon, the outermost shell of the carbon has 4 unpaired electrons which are present in the 2s orbital, 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1. So these 4 orbitals are half-filled, and see, before combination, these 3 orbitals, 2s orbital, 2px1, 2py1, 2x, 2s, 2px, 2py, 2pz, these are mixed together. Now you know s orbital is spherical in shape and p orbitals are dumbbell shape. So they mix into one another, they redistribute their energy and produce new orbitals of equivalent energy of equal shape and size. So hybridization is a process in which orbitals of the outermost shell, which are having near about same energy but not same, likely to be same energy, mix into one another and redistribute their energy, produce new orbitals of equivalent energy of equal shape and size, and they are directed to the 4 corners of regular tetrahedron. For example, in case of diamond, the 4 orbitals are directed to the 4 corners of regular tetrahedron. And you will find this bond angle is of 109 degree 28 minute. So here H, consider the methane molecule, or you may consider here carbon, isn't it? So in methane molecule, and here if you do not write anything, it is tetrahedral structure. And in case of graphite, see, the carbon atom is in sp2 hybridization state. Carbon 6, 1s2, 2s1, 2px1, 2py1, 2pz1. So what happened? 2s1, 2px1, 2py1. These orbitals mix into one another. Now you know energy of s orbital is less than energy of p orbital. And in order to have, before combination, in order to have equal energy, equal shape, equal magnitude, these three orbitals, they mix into one another and produce the new orbitals of equal shape, size, and this bond angle, for example, this bond angle is of 120 degree. And see, the 2pz orbital, for example, it remains perpendicular. It remains perpendicular. So I will show you how it remains perpendicular. So see, these are the three sp2 hybrid orbital which are formed by the mixing of 2s, 2px1, 2py1, and pz remains perpendicular like this. The shape of the pz do not change, but 2s orbital, 2px1, 2py1, they mix into one another. They redistribute their energy and produce new orbitals of equivalent energy of equal shape and size. And this is known as hybridization, and particularly here it is a sp2 hybridization. And in sp2 hybridization, the 2pz orbital forms the pi bond, while three sp2 hybrid orbital, they form the sigma bond, and sigma bond is formed by lateral overlapping of the sidewise overlapping of the orbital. So orbital overlap on the nuclear axis, and the bond formed when the orbital overlap on the nuclear axis is called sigma bond. And in case of pi bond, the pz orbital, which are not taking part in the hybridization, they overlap laterally and form the pi bond. And pi bond is weaker bond and sigma bond is stronger than pi bond. So we say that sigma bond is stronger than pi bond. Stronger means what? Which require more amount of energy for its breaking. That is a stronger. And therefore we say that orbitals are, sp2 hybrid orbitals are forming sigma bond, and you can say pz orbital, which is not taking part in the sharing, which is do not involved in the hybridization, forms the overlap laterally and forms the pi bond. And here, because of the pi bond, what happens? Because of the electrons of the pi bond are loosely held and are mobile. Therefore, when the small amount of energy is supplied, the electrons of the pi bond breaks and electrons get liberated free. When we supply the energy, the electron pi bond breaks and electrons get liberated free, and these electrons are responsible for the conduction of electricity, because electric current is nothing but the free flow of electrons. Electron moves in the opposite direction to that of the current, and here the pi bond which is present in the graphite breaks and electrons get liberated free. And in this way, graphite having millions of molecules, so millions of the pi bond breaks and electrons get liberated free, and you can say which are responsible for the good conductor, which are responsible for the conduction of electricity. And in this way, the graphite is a good conductor and diamond is a bad conductor. And diamond is the hardest substance, having high melting point and boiling point, and graphite is, we use the graphite as electrode in electrolytic cell. So see, diamond is very costly, you know, and diamond generally is sold in the market on the basis of 1 carat, 2 carat, 5 carat, 10 carats, 20 carats, etc. 1 carat means what? 1 carat is equal to 200 milligram. 1 carat is equal to 200 milligram. So 200 milligram means 1 carat. So some diamond having very high carat, like Kohinoor having very high carat, isn't it? So in this way, the diamond is a bad conductor, hardest substance on the earth. The covalent bonds are strong. There are all sigma bonds, no pi bond. In case of graphite, there are pi bonds. There is 1 pi bond in one molecule, and sigma bonds are strong, and therefore they do not break. And thus, this is the difference between graphite and diamond. Remember, this is the most important difference in the graphite and diamond. And there are many compounds like fullerene, Buckminster fullerene, that is the name after the name of the discoverer, and having 60 carbon atoms in one molecule. 60 carbon atoms in one molecule. There are many hexagonal rings and there are many pentagonal rings of the carbon atoms. Clear? So this is about the allotropes of the carbon, and I think versatile nature of the carbon that we will study tomorrow or in the next period. So versatile nature of the carbon we will study in the next period. So I think you are getting all the ideas, no difficulty. If you are having difficulties, I will solve it in the live session. So you can raise any difficulty from the syllabus. I will solve it, isn't it? If I became unable, again I will solve it tomorrow in the next period. So I think there is no such difficulty. So remember, students, so do study, make the writing practice. So writing practice will make your improvement. You will improve, you will score more marks, you will remember and you will recollect your study very well. And during examination we have to write, we have to answer by writing. So remember, so writing is the most essential factor while studying the science subject, math also. Clear? So here I stop and I will continue tomorrow.